Hickok 45 here, and
The John of the Hickoks.
I know she still don't have any hair.
Yeah, I've been waiting for it to come back, but it's just, I don't know.
Well,
I think you,
that battle stall worked.
as you get older, your hair comes in thicker, right? Isn't that how it works?
I think it's supposed to.
Okay, I'll wait for that.
I'm not gonna make fun. Actually, I have a little hair. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people think I'm bald, I guess, because I
Yeah.
wear a cap all the time.
Yeah.
I've got the receded hairline, but I actually have hair, and I like it short because my hat fits better. I don't know.
Yeah.
If I'm out somewhere without a hat, people don't know who I am, and they think I'm some kind of, well, they already think I'm a weirdo.
Yeah.
Don't they?
But there's a certain point if your hair starts thinning enough where it's just not worth it to try to make it happen. Yeah.
So about now you're wondering why the title of this video is Second Amendment Rallies, right?
Right, we're talking about our hair.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about this for a couple of weeks. We wanted to maybe do a video on Second Amendment rallies because there's some things about the rallies that take place and the rallies upcoming, rallies that we've been to. We've been to a bunch of them. I've spoken at 3 of them, I guess: Philadelphia, Columbus, Nashville. We've attended several, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
Large ones, small ones.
Yeah.
So we kind of have some opinions about them. And again, I wanted to talk about a couple things at the Nashville rally. You may have seen my Facebook posting on that. But it was funny because we talked about this seriously last week about doing this video. And then one of us said, well, why don't we wait till after the rally, Saturday, and then we may have more information. But we just want to talk about rallies.
Right. And we also want to, more so than try to impose our opinions on you, just kind of start the discussion. It's something, obviously, if you're watching this video, gun rights are probably very important to you. We all have different ideas about how to go about protecting them and restoring them.
Protecting these.
Right. So, we want to kind of open the discussion in the category of pro-gun rallies.
Yeah.
See what you guys think about, some of the experiences we've had.
Yeah, we want your opinions and what you all think. We're not experts.
No, not at all.
I mean, I enjoy the rallies. I enjoy going and hanging out with all those like-minded people. It's pretty cool because it's not often you do that. You hang out in a gun shop or a gun
socially
show.
it's really fun.
Yeah, it's neat.
Yeah.
So, but we've got some opinions on it, and I guess I'll kick off.
How about we get to those opinions?
Yeah, well, let's get to them. Let's get to them. Okay. One of the opinions, and we talked about this like a week ago or so. We've talked about it probably for years. How we feel like sometimes there are too many of these rallies, and that I guess after seeing the Parkland, shooting the rallies that the kids had and everything, and of course that they had a lot of support for that, right? But however they did it, they mobilized all these hundreds of thousands of people, of course, in Washington, and there have been other rallies, like that. It seems like the gun banners or the people who want to take our firearms away from us, they are better able to get big groups out.
Well, it's because they're so well connected in the media.
That's it.
A lot of the
and
people,
they get coverage when they do come out.
Right. A lot of the people who, and it's not conspiracy theory stuff. You can look it up. A lot of the people who run some of these anti-gun groups are, they own big chunks of the media.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And most of the media, they hate guns. They're not going to cover our rallies very well. And that's part of the point. I think, maybe I'm wrong, I would rather not have all these different rallies, 2 or 3 a year, nationwide, in every capital and that kind of thing. It depends on what's going on. It's not every year. But I know back in the fall, there were some folks on YouTube tried to get one going. John and I actually showed up in Nashville.
Yeah, we were 50% of the people that came.
And then, of course, the one this past weekend across the country, and I think there's one in May 19th. I've already been asked to speak at one of those. I think we may be involved in some reshoots of our zombie movie. Might not be able to do it, but and who knows? There's probably another one planned for this summer. One of my points is see what you think. I'm kind of thinking there's too many of them. It really, by contrast, doesn't look good if the gun banners get together, and even if they just have 1,000 people, or if they have 5,000, whatever they have, and then we put these things together, and we have like Saturday, about 75 people, maybe 100 on the out, about 75 or 80 people, I guess, at the most, show up, and we're just there on a little piece of sidewalk. I don't know if that's good. What do you all think?
Yeah, like if we're going to do it, I feel like it needs to be big.
Yes.
And then another thing is, it's, we don't have the media exposure capabilities on our side, like the anti-gun groups do. So the thing that's going to get gun owners out is if something's going on. So it's kind of like that old I don't know, military tactic of you wait till the enemy gets to within a certain range before you start fighting them, because you're going to blow all your ammo before they get within range, something like that. It wasn't in the military, but it's the same kind of tactic. It's almost like we need to wait and be disciplined until something gets to a certain point.
We
like
really need one.
There's a federal assault weapons ban, right on our doorstep, or we won't wait too long, of course,
Right.
until it's too late. But we need to wait until a rally is going to be the most effective, and two, be able to draw the most people out. Because let's face it, if there's not something big going on, people don't care in general. I mean, a lot of people do, but not enough.
Right.
So it's like you have to kind of, I feel like, wait for that right prime time, and it needs to be really well organized. Whatever group it is, whether it's the NRA or the GOA or some guy in his basement, I don't care who it is, just as long as we can get everybody together and it's like a big deal and there's plenty of time to prepare for it.
Yeah,
and
time, I think, is a factor. We're talking about nationwide rallies, especially. I think the folks in Columbus, where I went a few weeks ago, they had, it was kind of a state issue with the governor, getting against the guns and promoting the assault weapons ban and some things. And so they all got together pretty quickly, and I think that was great. But these nationwide rallies, I would like to see. I'm not sure, who is best to organize it. Maybe it's not the NRA. Maybe because there's division there. There's people, not so much in the gun community, although there are some people who hate the NRA. But for the most part, people support the NRA. But I still don't know if that's the best organization, or if they would even be interested. Probably they would want to really manage it well if they did it. And that's another point. We need somebody in charge of it that really is hands-on in every state.
Right.
And it's not easy. I'm not volunteering. It's easy for me to criticize people because that's a daunting task.
Yeah.
But it really needs to be organized well nationwide and at every state level. There's so much to do. You probably heard some of the problems. I know in Georgia and Tennessee and probably elsewhere on this past one, getting permits and security and the expense of all that, and there's a lot of issues involved. It's not something, as John said, you can just in your basement on YouTube say, hey, let's have a rally nationwide, everybody, and nobody shows up. And then we look really bad.
Well, I said I don't care if it's a guy in his basement, as long as we can get people out.
Yeah, if he does it well, right.
Right. More than likely, some guy in his basement is probably not.
Yeah.
They're not going to be able to do that. But like the local rallies, that's a totally different ballgame. If there's something going on locally or in your state, by all means, have a rally. That's another thing. I think it's almost more important to have those local rallies when there's not something federally happening really big. Yeah. Because then people from other states can come and support your rally, not just people in that one state.
Yeah.
So that's important. We got to have we got to have a good showing, I think, if we're going to do that kind of thing. And it's also important, like you were saying earlier, who's running it. We don't want a situation where people are taking advantage of the fight for our gun rights as for marketing. Gun rights is not your marketing strategy. Like we can't have people doing that.
If I've got a little blog or something and I decide I'm gonna become known because I'm gonna put together a rally, I'm gonna start advocating that we have a Second Amendment rally, in every state or something. And if I'm doing that mostly to get attention for myself, and I'm not blaming anybody for that, I'm not accusing anybody, I'm just saying that's the kind of thing that obviously gets attention,
right?
And that natural motivation for that, we want to stay away from that if at all possible. I've had people, John and I have had folks for years, they're trying to put together a rally or something here and there, and they hit us up, and you can help us promote this or help us promote whatever it is, a million different things, and all of a sudden we're the bad guys because we don't promote something that it really isn't going to go anywhere.
Right.
Then they can even turn around and blame us, can't they?
Right.
Yeah. So we don't want to be in those positions. And that's one reason we're doing this. I said because if I'm contacted, we're contacted next week about a rally in August or one in December or whatever, the questions we're going to be asking is, and again, we don't mean to be snobs about this. I just think we need one big rally. That's kind of my point. I'll drive to Washington D.C. on my own dime anytime if I think we could get enough people to march in the streets.
It's not about us being lazy or not wanting to have to
No,
put
man.
forth extra effort. We genuinely care about gun rights,
Yeah.
and we think that it makes us look bad.
It's
when
being
we have
watered
these-
down. That's what I don't
when
like.
we have these poor showings. You know, that rally we were talking about, there was only 4 people there, including us. I'm glad it was only 4 people and not like 20 people, because at least that way no one noticed.
There would have been some media.
and no one even knew there was anything was going on. But if it had been like 20 people, it would have been even worse.
Yeah. We don't need that publicity or lack of publicity. Well,
No.
it'd be publicity we don't want. So that's my theory, my position right now. Unless you convince me differently, I don't know. I just have this feeling, at least on nationwide organizations or
Right.
an organized
Local is totally different.
a nationwide rally. I think it'd be great, and we would really get behind it if again, we can't organize it. You know, we can't take the time, but somebody could.
But if someone with a legit reputation, a big organization, were to
with some resources maybe,
Yeah.
and we'll help with the resources.
Definitely.
At every state level if necessary. If we could just get a really big one going, I would be delighted to do everything we possibly can. Every capital maybe, and also at the D.C. I think it'd need to be like 6 months out almost, don't you? 5 or 6 months. I don't
Yeah,
know.
what did the Parkland kids do? Of course, they were on Ellen and all these huge shows,
Yeah.
but they waited like how many? At least 2 months or something, didn't
Yeah, it
they?
was a little while, yeah.
They gave it some time, that month
But it
or
was
so.
still such a hot issue and everything.
Right.
Because gun owners are hard to get mobilized. Let's face it. Yeah, we for the most part we mind our own business. We do our thing. We think the Second Amendment should take care of itself. Unfortunately, it doesn't. And it's hard to get us motivated. I mean, get us mobilized. And so we need the time, and we need to know there's going to be a big one. There's going to be a lot behind it in every state, in Washington, and.
And also, one other thing too, we were going to bring up is the etiquette at these rallies.
Oh yeah.
It's another important issue. When I first showed up to this past rally in Nashville, I made a joke to somebody because they were micing this guy up that was in full camo, and I never saw his interview. I'm sure he's a totally nice guy and everything, but I made some joke to somebody about how, if you want to come to a gun rally and get on the news, wear full camo, because
that's right.
they always seem to, the camo must not work very well. Somehow they find the person in camo to interview.
That's right. They're
does
not
that
hidden
happen?
very well. Need better camouflage. Wear a Carhartt like I do.
You got to wear urban camo when you're in the city. That's what it is.
Is that
It's
it?
the wrong camo.
Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with camo. Obviously,
No.
it's a big part of hunting culture. I mean, it was like hunting camo, wasn't military camo.
Yeah.
But even military camo, whatever. It's like we're woodsmen. We're in the woods. We shoot guns. I mean, that's part of our culture. But with that being said, there's nothing about wearing a bunch of camo to your state capitol that really puts a new positive spin on gun ownership. They already know that we're like that. We need to kind of show that we're regular folks.
Right. They think we're what, rednecks already. And when I use the term redneck, I use it in a negative way, like bigots.
Right.
A lot of us are. We live in rural areas, and of course, anybody who hunts at all and gets out in the woods in Turkey has all kinds. Some of their best clothing is camo.
Right.
I understand. I don't hunt, so I shouldn't talk to this probably, but I realize a lot of people probably don't even have a lot of just casual clothes that aren't camo.
Yeah, it's possible.
Even shorts,
it's not that
Yeah.
big of a deal, but it's just if
Yeah.
you can, I think it's a good idea to just dress normal.
Yeah.
And not wear camo.
Well, that is
to the
normal for
rallies.
some people.
Well, okay.
I mean, it really
That's
is.
fair. That's fair. If it's normal for you, then okay.
No, well, what John and I are talking about is, and some people I can tell from the comments I've gotten lately, some people don't have they don't see these Second Amendment rallies as much of a PR thing as a lot of us do. I see it as a really important PR opportunity. I mean, why else have it? Why else gather out there in public?
Right. It's the whole point.
It's a PR event, and we're trying to use that PR to let people know, hey, we're just regular folks like we do on our channel.
Yeah.
And we just happen to be very supportive of the Second Amendment. We're not going away, and here we are, big and loud maybe, at this rally, but we're just regular folks.
Right.
And even if we have to wear something we don't normally wear, of course that was the issue. Let me go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room, of course, because I got hammered to some extent, although most of you were highly supportive of what I had said. When John and I showed up, we were there for a while, and then at the one this Saturday, and of course I'd look around and there's somebody with a big Confederate flag beside me, and I thought, oh man, well, things started going through my mind. Well, this is not really good. This is a Second Amendment rally for one thing, and we're bringing this other controversy into it, and I'm thinking I'm going to be photographed with this Confederate flag, and that's going to be wonderful as well. And we like to protect the Hickok 45 brand. We are very accepting of everybody. That's been one of the most important missions here. And we don't get into party politics, and all that kind of thing. And so all of a sudden I'm identified with the Confederate flag standing here by me in a small group of, as I said in the Facebook posting, of about 75 people that fit in a McDonald's restaurant. So the Confederate flag becomes like a banner for the rally in a way.
And the Confederate flag, regardless of what you think about it, it has become political. It was always a little bit political, of course. It's a cool looking flag. I've had a guitar with the Confederate flag on it before. I like the idea of a flag that represents the South, being from the South, but unfortunately, it's attached to a very negative part of American history, and because of that, it's become very political, especially lately, and it has those connotations. And especially when you bring one to a rally, it doesn't do anything but just further the stereotypes that people who are in the middle, which are the ones we should care about, and especially on the total opposite side, already have about gun owners in general. I mean, think about it. You're some guy that you're kind of in the middle. Maybe you even own a gun or whatever. You're not sure what to think about AR-15s, and you got some big time white collar job working downtown, and you're driving your Range Rover, down the street, and you look over, oh, there's a gun rally, and like half everybody's in camo, and there's Confederate flags. Like, it's a bunch of rednecks.
I don't want to be associated with those people.
It doesn't help. It's not that those things are bad or wrong. It doesn't help. That's all it is.
Well, it brings an issue. That was the thing. There were some people who apparently didn't read my post or kind of get the point. Maybe it's my fault for not being more clear. I have no real serious problem with the Confederate flag one way or the other. I think it's a cool flag. I've got one hanging in the house, not a flag, but a picture. It's a Civil War gathering for the Union and the South, and you got an Enfield rifle in the Southern, all the accoutrements of the Southern soldier and the Confederate flag, and then on the other picture of the Union with the Union flag and all that. It's a part of history. And I understand a lot of people see it as, it's just kind of a don't tread on me sort of thing, a kind of a rebellious thing, and it's just like we are with the Second Amendment. So I understand some of that logic, but that's irrelevant. Whether I understand it or whether I love the Confederate flag, that's not the issue at all. It's the fact that we're bringing to a PR event another issue. We're muddying the water. And as I said in the Facebook posting or in comments to people, it would be exactly the same if I look around. I'm at especially a small rally, there's just a handful of us there almost, and someone's got a big sign, pro-life sign. Oh, okay, I didn't know this was a pro-life rally. Or what's the other side, the pro-life or the pro-choice, okay?
Yeah.
Pro-choice sign. Either one, it doesn't matter. Or if they were standing there beside me with a big, I love Trump.
Yeah.
Or I hate Trump. What are some other controversial issues? It wouldn't matter what it is. It was just at the wrong place. That was the only problem I had.
Because we're trying to all unify under the umbrella of Second Amendment gun rights, and we don't need all these other political things being that's already a problem. People try to impregnate guns with these different other political issues because there's obviously some common ground there. But if we're gonna really take this fight as far as we can. We need to be able to include everyone and just focus on the Second Amendment when that's what we're doing.
Yeah, when that,
If you
exactly.
want to have a conservative rally, have a conservative rally. But if we're having a gun rally, it needs to be a gun rally.
Second Amendment rally, or firearms freedom rally, whatever we want to call it. That's what the rally should be. And then next Saturday, maybe we have a Confederate flag rally, okay? And you can go and argue against it or for it, or a pro-life rally, gay rights rally, whatever you want to have. That's all fine. That's all part of America. It's just that I think we muddy the water. We need to keep our focus on firearms and try to present ourselves as sensible people, because the gun haters, the gun banners, they like to portray us as rednecks that live back in the woods on a target range like this and ain't got sense, ain't got good sense, you know.
So a lot of us do, so we got to pretend like we don't when we're at these rallies.
That's what we're really trying to say, okay? We've been camouflaging. What we're really trying to say is we can't let them know how we really are, folks.
Yeah.
No, it's a diverse group, shooters are. It's
Right.
so mainstream. And, oh man, if you've been to an indoor range lately in a larger town at all, just sit there and watch the people come in on a Saturday and a Saturday night. It's everybody of every appearance and race and gender, and they come in there and shoot and enjoy firearms, and we want to win people over like that, you know. And bringing in other issues is not the thing to do at a rally. And that kind of goes back to these things need to be organized really well, and that's hard to do. I understand. And someone wrote me and said that they had a rally and they wouldn't put up with anything like that. They would just tell them to leave if someone brought a pro-life or a pro-choice sign or a Make America Great sign, even. You know, it's just. Trump's a good example, you know, whether you like him or hate him. And again, I'm in the middle on some of that, but he's controversial. So I don't think it'd be good to have a Trump sign, do you? One way or the other at one of these rallies.
Right, and AR-15s are controversial, but we don't care because that's what it's about. That's what the whole thing is about. We're not trying to include other stuff. That's kind of the main points. I guess the main points are just, there's a certain etiquette that we need to, I think, try to at least acknowledge at those rallies and put our best foot forward and be image conscious. I know that it's fun to to hate on PC culture and all that kind of stuff. But look, we don't want to be pushed off into obscurity, which could happen really easily with how the world is changing. We need to be inclusive if we want to keep our gun rights. We have to. We don't need to be. We have to be.
Yeah, because firearms are not a left-right issue. They're not a Trump issue.
To a certain
Obama
extent,
issue.
they have become that way. They shouldn't be. And if if we can be more inclusive, there's a lot of people who are not conservative who support guns, and we need everybody.
Right, because we're eliminating a lot of people if we make it a conservative strictly or a Republican issue.
Right.
And that's something John and I have tried to do a lot of. I'm a little bothered sometimes you'd be at a firearms meeting of some sort and it becomes more of a Republican politics meeting, and I heard a lot of you all criticize that, and we're trying to get away from that, regardless of what party that you might sympathize with or I might identify with or sympathize with. I think if we can keep firearms a firearms issue, the Second Amendment a Second Amendment issue, and eliminate all that other stuff and not be tethered to either party, even though there's some of that just naturally going to happen, because look at which politicians vote for gun banning and which ones don't. I know, but we're trying to change that, and these rallies is one way to do that. So I don't know. I know we come off as being snobbish. I don't have the serious problem with the Confederate flag. It kills me. I lived in Franklin, Tennessee for a long time, and there's a really neat Confederate monument right there in the town square, and I just hate it that one day they'll probably take that thing down, and it's these things should be, I think, of course here I'm getting into another issue, but they're a piece of history. They're a piece of history, and some of the comments I saw from you all, that flag is a piece of history. It definitely is. And but
Doesn't make it.
we're not arguing that.
It doesn't make
Yeah.
it not offensive to people.
Yeah.
We're not arguing against freedom of speech. You can go and fly a swastika if you want, or a communist flag,
Yeah.
or whatever you want. But it doesn't mean that people aren't going to react to it in a certain way. And we want people to react to our Second Amendment movement in the most positive way possible. So anything that goes against that, it isn't directly part of gun rights specifically. The "Don't Tread on Me" flag. It says the same thing. If the Confederate flag to you is about rebellion, so was the "Don't Tread on Me" flag. And that
bring
means
that one.
and that means the same to everybody. That's not a flag that that offends any, or maybe there's probably someone that's offended by it, but it means "Don't tread on me" to everyone. So.
And I understand people, because I saw several comments. People are really sick of the PC, thing.
PC culture.
Yeah, and I don't blame people. It's just, again,
And the PC culture thing too is become a weird issue. And if now all of a sudden if you don't like something, then you're automatically a snowflake, which is ridiculous.
Right.
I mean, there are certain aspects of political correctness that is just about being more respectful of
Exactly.
people, just being more respectful of the people that we're sharing this planet with.
Right.
But then there are certain other sides of it, of course, that they're just taking it way too far. So I don't know where I was going with that. But.
Well, I know what you mean. I was going to say something. Yeah, being politically correct has become kind of has negative connotations. But we're all politically correct to some extent. I mean, you can't live in society and just go around insulting people everywhere you go.
Exactly.
So we are kind of politically correct by nature if we're going to live in a society. It's just where we take it.
Where's the line?
Yeah. But again, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's a Second Amendment rally, we need to keep it about that. Arguing about a Ford better than a Chevy would be the same thing. Hold up a sign, Ford's rule, your Chevy stinks. I mean, we don't want anything at these rallies that is going to divide people.
Yeah.
So that's our main point. And then also again, whether or not we need so many of these things, that needs to be debated. I don't know. What do you all think? I'd be interested to know. Do you think, and maybe we're kind of on the wrong base on that, John. Maybe having more of them is a way to go. I don't know. I still tend to think that a really well organized national plan and having a major one, maybe once a year. I don't know.
Quality over quantity.
Yeah, whether something is going on that's threatening there's always something going on threatening our gun rights, but whether it's one of those moments when that's about to happen or not, hey, we had 1 million people show up in Washington, D.C. I don't care what's going on. That's going to be effective.
Yeah.
Or several thousand at every state capital instead of just a handful or a couple of hundred, because
and also people using the fact that our rights are in jeopardy for their own marketing purposes to sell T-shirts or whatever it is they're doing is kind of frustrating at times. It depends on who it is and how it's done, of course.
Right. If there's a group that's just putting something together to get the attention, that's not good. I don't know who we turn to do it. So we don't have the answers here, but someone that can look at this big picture with all of our input. Look at this big picture. Maybe it's all the gun rights organizations together. I don't know, but look at the big picture and get some smart people in a room. Maybe it's you on that committee, and say, okay, let's look at this. When would it be really effective? When would we be able to get the most people out? How could we motivate them, mobilize them, get them out? What time of year? What are some tricks to getting this done? And what would be the most effective way to manage something like this? And I don't know. Your input is appreciated, but we just have some concerns about it, and have had for a while as these things keep popping up. So
yeah, we all. I mean, there may be some people watching that don't support gun rights on the level that we do, but I assume most people watching you support the right to own these things legally and everything, and we all want the same thing. We're going to disagree on things like on the NRA or how to do rallies or all these different things, but we've got to try to work together under the same umbrella, and because if we get, the other side wants us to be divided, they want that, and they're going to do anything they can to continue that. So we've got to try to stay as unified as possible. It doesn't mean we have to agree,
Right.
It just means that we, like sometimes I think people get the term unity a little confused. It doesn't mean that we all think the same and act the same and agree on everything. It just means that we understand that we have a common goal, and we're not going to hate each other. We're going to try to work with each other in the best way we can, even though we might disagree on some things, because we all have that same common goal. You know, I can understand that there may be someone who doesn't like the NRA. They may have different beliefs about the NRA than I do, but I also understand that maybe they want to protect the rights to own AR-15s just like I do. So I'm going to try to figure out a way to work with them the best I can, so we can both accomplish the same thing, even though they may have a different idea how to do it than I do. You know, there's no reason to hate people because they think differently, especially if you have something as important as gun rights, you know, in common. So.
And social media quite often can breed that sort of thing, because it's easy to get attention, you know, on social media by being outlandish or extreme. But we got to work together, and the best way we can. Yeah. So we really appreciate so many of you all, because I've gotten so many comments over the years from people who they'll say that you know, I don't always agree with you, Hickok, on everything, but I like what you're doing or whatever. You know, people admit they don't agree with us on things, and but they enjoy some aspects of the show or whatever it is, you know, and that's kind of the way, you know, I like to try to be. There's a lot of people I don't agree with, but to turn me off completely, you gotta go a few steps, you know.
Right.
Now I can be turned off. I mean, there's some idiots on the internet, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty laid back, you know. And so I don't know where I was going with that either.
Yeah, the internet's good about turning you on and off. Definitely. I think that we've always tried to be pretty genuine. You know, not tried to be. We just always. You don't have to try if you're being genuine. We've always you know, we've always wanted to maintain you know, being genuine and just being who we are and being honest and everything, you know, and we try to keep that alive on our channel. And like you said, they may not always agree with us. We, you know, try to keep some political opinions, you know, off of the channel and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, we just try to be ourselves and you know, who we are. Like I said, we all care about the same thing. The reason that you guys watch, I assume most of the time, is because you care about gun rights, and that's what it's about. So,
yep. So we are who we are, and you are who you are. How's that for profound? Most people are average. Yeah, most people are average, and we appreciate y'all's support. And if any of this made any sense to you, let us know. Please don't come on and bash us about the Confederate flag. I kind of like the Confederate flag. I wish it didn't have the connotations it has, and it wasn't even an issue if one shows up, you know, at a rally. But it's just kind of the way it is. And again, it wouldn't matter what it is. The flag is not the issue.
Right.
And as I said in my post there to somebody, it was such a small group Saturday. And if it had been 1,000 people or a couple thousand people, it wouldn't have been that big issue. Like we didn't see the Confederate flag go stomping off in a huff or anything. It was just, I don't think I want to be associated with this flag, because it was a major symbol in that small group. And just to protect our brand, the very thing we're talking about right now.
Because we want to be inclusive, not, you know, exclusive.
Yeah. Oh man, people of color. There's not enough people of color in the shooting sports, and you know, we're all trying to just get everybody, get this great hobby open to everybody, which it is. But some people aren't as comfortable yet, you know, going to an NRA meeting, you know, or a shooting range. You know, they feel like maybe they are a minority, but they just feel awkward about that kind of thing. My gosh, the last thing I want is my picture around the internet with a Confederate flag over my shoulder at a Second Amendment rally. Okay, so that was my problem.
And you know, and the way, you know, certain people look at it is they think, well, unless you've been living in a cave, you know that there's a lot of people who see the Confederate flag as a racist symbol. Right. So some people are going to look at you and see, like, you're willing to fly that flag knowing that a lot of people view it as a statement about race.
Right.
Then what does that say about you? You know, people are going to look at it that way, and it's just not something that we need to bring into to guns. If we
that is said very well. That's exactly what I've said over the years. We live in a rural county, and occasionally usually it's teenagers or somebody riding around with a a Confederate flag sticking out of the back of their truck or something like that. And I've said that to my wife several times. I know they're young and everything, but they've got to know, even if they think, as I know a lot of people do think, that it should not offend anybody, and you're really torn up that it does, and you're mad about it, in fact, and you just don't care. That's why you fly it, right? I know, I understand that. I'm a bit of a rebel myself, but still, as John said, you have to know, if you've been awake and haven't been living in a cave, that a lot of people are extremely offended by it. Now, you can disagree with them and think they should not be, but a lot of people, especially people of color, of course, they are very offended by it. So if you're flying it, you're driving around with it, whatever you're doing, you really are saying, well, I'm sorry, I don't care if you're offended by it.
Right.
I mean, so whatever the flag should mean.
Right, whatever the history, if people will talk about the history of it. The thing is, obviously, this is not the same thing, but it's like, for example, with the swastika, right? The swastika, that image has been around for thousands of years. It used to be a symbol of hope. I mean, there were Asian cultures that used it. You can go online and research this. I remember we went to a museum somewhere in Arizona, and there was some old Native American jewelry from the 1800s that had a swastika on it. I don't think she knew who Hitler was, So I mean, it hasn't always been a negative symbol, but good luck bringing that back. Good luck bringing the swastika back. Oh, I know the history of it. It's not, I mean, it's a different example, of course, but
you just don't know history. Yeah.
Right, but the connotation is everything. You can call everyone who disagrees with you a snowflake if you want, but it's not going to prevent you from being pushed into obscurity. So.
Yeah, I mean, the symbols and language, which is a symbol, those things just evolve through the years.
Yeah, language is very fluid.
Like when I was 5 years old, if someone said they were going to go out and they're going to have a really gay time tonight, well, that just meant they're going to have a happy time tonight.
Right, yeah.
Well, that word has changed its meaning. It doesn't matter whether I like it or not. It has a different meaning now. So you can't fight things like that too much. I understand people's frustration, but it's just the world we live in. Mainly, we want to support the Second Amendment in any way, and anything that detracts from that is not good. And especially at a Second Amendment rally.
Right.
So that's what we're talking about. Let's leave our other politics at home, our other causes at home, whatever it is. Try to represent ourselves well, even if we have to wear something we don't normally wear. I don't know. It's crazy that we have to be this way, but it is a PR event, and we'd like to see them organized well and have probably fewer but bigger events.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
and we should shut up because I know we've been repeating ourselves.
We should probably let them go because we need to have a gay old time shooting some guns here this afternoon.
That's right, and I'm going to get the flag out here in a minute. Oh man, it really is a shame because that's a beautiful flag.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
It's cool. Yeah. Again, I like the idea of a flag that represents the South, but
Yeah, I know. I do. 'Cause I'm from northern Kentucky, and I didn't grow up like in the South. John sort of did here in the Nashville area, but I'm from northern Kentucky, almost in Cincinnati, just across the river. And the Civil War, Kentucky was kind of a border state, and so I didn't grow up with the culture of the flags really at all.
Right.
So I'm sort of just like Kentucky, it was kind of on the border and not steeped in either tradition in a big way. I never considered myself a Yankee or a rebel necessarily, even though my high school, though, we were the rebels. You believe that? They still are.
yeah.
Yeah, even today.
Yeah.
It's funny. But so anyway, it's a neat Southern symbol, but unfortunately it represents so much more of that now.
Yeah.
I really meant not to talk about the flag much because it's not a flag issue. It's a rally issue and just being the best PR event we can make it.
Right.
So
anyways,
we keep repeating. We got anything else to tell you to say? We'll see you at the NRA meeting. We'll probably talk to you before that, but we'll be there and do some meet and greets. And I hope you're there in Dallas, and we'll see you there.
Yeah.
Let's just shut up. We have talked too much, and we got about 1,000 people upset with us, probably.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. But if you don't have people upset with you, you're not doing anything.
It's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Can't make everybody happy.
So we're not sure we're really doing anything. So we want to make sure we are by upsetting people.
Right. Just food for thought. We
Yeah.
don't. We try to make it as clear as we possibly can that we don't think we know everything. But we still have opinions. We still
Yeah.
choose things that we think are more likely true than other things from our own perspectives. My perspective or yours. Sometimes we disagree on stuff, but we agree on things for the most part. So don't take any of this as, if you disagree with us, we don't like you. You're wrong. We never mean that whenever we
No,
say what we
gosh,
think
no.
about something.
No.
And I hope that you guys would know that.
Yeah. Like I say, we want to be inclusive.
Right.
I mean, I know that word's overused also.
It is,
but if you're a supporter of the Second Amendment, the entire Bill of Rights, First Amendment, Second, then you're a friend of ours.
Yeah.
And again, it's not a quick note on that. It's not a First Amendment issue. You bring a flag to a Second Amendment rally. First Amendment simply means that you can say what you want to say without fear of retaliation from the government.
Right.
You can't say or do anything you want in my living room. I can't say anything I want in your living room, in your business. Okay? It just protects you from the government. Okay? Some people don't get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. They think they should be able to say or do anything they want anywhere, and they have a First Amendment right to do that, and you really don't. But okay, I'm not going to say anything else.
This could literally go on for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
This whole issue could just unpack into more and more and more and more topics.
I think we just like to talk too much.
Yeah, I think so too.
So we'll let you go. And again, your opinions are not on the goofy flag issue, but your opinions are welcome on these rallies. What we don't want, never mind. We just didn't want to turn this into a Confederate flag issue because it's not. What do you think about the rallies? What would be the best approach? Who should, do we need what's it called, a czar, a rally czar in Washington to take care of these things or not? It's just wonder what you think about it. Life is good.